replay of tonight's game here on Herald Standard Television Sports. And alongside, back with me, the coach, Jeff Hudson. First of all,
great to be back.
It's great to have you back. And before we start about the game, congratulations, the WPIAL Class A Girls Champion Lady Bears of Clarendon. Way to go.
Thank you very much, Chuck. We're disappointed that we're here tonight because that means we lost. But great to be back with the Raiders. You've done a good job, you and Eric, bringing us the games on HSTV.
But it's always good to have my partner back. Looking forward to tonight's game, of course. A classic was played on this very floor at the A.J. Palumbo Center on the campus of Duquesne University in Pittsburgh just a couple of weeks ago when they met for the WPIAL Championship, and Uniontown won by 3 free throws in the final minute and a half to salt it away. Very entertaining game. Uniontown behind by a lot, then ahead by a lot. Then they had to hold off a furious Red Hurricane run in the fourth quarter.
Obviously, two great teams, 59-2 combined. Both teams are capable of big runs, and that's what I look for tonight. A game of runs, and if there's such a thing as a team having the psychological advantage, Red Raider fans won't want to hear, but I think they lie mostly on the side of Newcastle. So I think it's very important that the Raiders come out strong and play a very good first quarter.
And Uniontown has not played well in the state tournament so far. In fact, I think the coaching staff will agree when I say that their last really solid performance was against Newcastle in the WPIAL championship game. A little loose with the basketball, a lot of turnovers, and I'm not sure what the explanation for that would be. With 5 seniors in the starting lineup, you don't expect that.
That's what makes it a great game. You know, you may average 9 turnovers a game and have 30. You've got to execute. You've got to be sharp between the ears. And so much of this game tonight, Chuck, with all this pressure, is going to be mental. It is not going to be physical. I mean, the physical talent, the mental part will play a much bigger part tonight.
Great thing about the Red Raiders, they have so many weapons, so many ways they can beat you. Terrence Vaughns has been leading the way throughout the postseason. Then suddenly in the quarterfinal game against Erie Cathedral Prep, only 9 points for Terrence. Enter Chris Jacobs. He steps in with a big game inside.
And as my former teammate John Gismondi alluded in the pregame fan in the stands, the Raiders have more offensive firepower from more positions. The Raiders can hurt you with their top 7 people, and they can score from all 5 positions. So I think offensively, the Raiders have more people that can step up. De'Aaron Jenkins needs to step up, and maybe Brandon Duncan can hit some big threes off the bench.
Now, I don't know if the coaching staff is playing possum, but when I talk with the coaching staff, I continuously throughout the postseason get the line that if we play our game, we're going to win. That could be dangerous against a team as quality as Newcastle. I think you have to do something from a strategical standpoint to counteract some of the things that they can do. And certainly in that first game, when Newcastle went to the half-court trap in the fourth quarter, it gave the Red Raiders some problems. So the coaching staff might say we're just going to play our game. But, Jeff, I'll bet they've devised a thing or two to try to counteract that trap. At least I hope so.
Maybe, maybe not. You know, if they're 59-2 and they've done certain things to get to this point, they may or may not throw in a wrinkle. But Newcastle brings an awful lot to the table here tonight. Again, I think the psychological advantages lie with them. The Raiders are going to have to take care of the basketball. They're going to have to attack that half-court trap. And when they do, then they can go 3-on-2. And I think that's when they're at their best in transition.
The Red Raiders have lost only 1 game all season, and that game was to a team that won a state championship in the state of Nevada. We hope that Newcastle loses 2 games this season to a team that wins a state championship here in Pennsylvania. Tonight's winner goes to Hershey and plays for the state title. It's Uniontown and Newcastle. Looking forward to it. Starting lineups and the opening tap next on HSTV Sports.
Eric and I drove by about 20 to 5. There were a couple hundred Raider fans out there ready to bust in, and they certainly did that.
Love it, absolutely love it. These two teams played a thriller the first time around in the championship of the WPIAL. Newcastle, of course, was unbeaten going into that game, had a 7-point lead in the second period. A big Raider run gave them the lead at the half. They ended up running that lead up to 14 at one point, led by Newcastle has made the semifinals.
Remember to stay tuned after the game for the fans.
Attorneys at law have been.
The applause drowned out that last line. I was just starting to mention the tradition that the Red Hurricanes have, Jess. The 4th time in 10 seasons Newcastle has made the semifinals. and of course, a team that has now been a perennial contender for that state title.
And I think if you look at the last 5 years, I think that if you say who are the best two teams in Quad A the last 5 years, I think these two would be mentioned by everyone. I want to go back real quick to something you said in pregame. Maybe I should hold it till after we're done with the starting lineups here.
And I mentioned that they're rocking and rolling here at the Palumbo Center, although way up here in the top row, Jeff, we may be doing a little more rocking than we want. This platform is moving.
We have been rocking. We need to use Eric as an anchor here.
I'm telling you, they got the stands shaking. The Newcastle Red Hurricanes come into this game with a record of 30-1. The only defeat, of course, to Uniontown in the WPIAL championship game. And they are led, as far as scoring, they are led by Dom Joseph, a forward who averages 17.7 points per game. He is their leading scorer, but of course, possibly their best player is number 22, Mark DeMonico. He's the point guard who makes everything go for Newcastle, and Pierre Jenkins did a great job on him defensively in that WPIAL championship game. Let's take a look at the Newcastle starting five, and there is Mark DeMonico. He is a 5'9 senior. He wears number 22. Number 21 is a 6-foot senior guard, Dante Spino. Number 52 is a 6'4 senior. He is the center, and his name is Hoover Gibson. Starting at forward is Joseph. We mentioned him, Dom Joseph, the 6'2 senior, who is the leading scorer for Newcastle. And the final starter at forward is 6-foot junior Leon Ward. John Sarandria, what a great program he has built at Newcastle, and he is the head coach of the Red Hurricanes. For the Uniontown Red Raiders, as you well know by now, it is the all-senior starting lineup. And their senior point guard, why do we not keep saying senior, do we? The point guard is number 12, David Winfrey. He goes 5'10". Leading scorer is Terrence Vaughn. He wears number 24, 5'11 guard. The center is number 14, Carl Farrell. He is 6'2", but plays much bigger than that. And at forward, actually they announced him as a forward, but really Uniontown plays a 3-guard offense. There's number 20, D.R. Jenkins, 6'2 guard. And the forward is number 32. He stands 6'1", and he is Chris Jacobs. Dave Shuck, of course, the head coach. Rich Bierbauer, Rob Kesmarski, the assistant coaches. Dave Shuck has already announced this will be his final year. Let's hope tonight not his final game.
And if we can go back to something that you may have said in pregame, if Uniontown plays its game, you might have been quoting someone, they think they will win. Let's go over in Newcastle's huddle. I would believe they would be saying the same thing. If we play our game and our best game, we will win. That's how evenly and how closely these two are matched, that both teams think if they play their best game, they can win without doing any type of trickery or throwing in a wrinkle or two. But again, it'll be interesting to see how soon Newcastle comes with the half-court trap, since they had a lot of success with that in the previous game 2.5 weeks ago.
Your officials tonight are Dave Gambridge, Mark Torella, and Paul Sturdich. And they will have quite a responsibility as well. How close they call this game, always a key factor when the Red Raiders play, because they play that swarming defense. They don't want the game called too tight. They're not a particularly deep team as well. They basically just bring two off the bench. Opening tap is controlled by the Raiders. So Uniontown will get the first possession. And Newcastle opens up in a zone defense, a 2-3 look. Uniontown will work it around. They swing it out to D.R. Jenkins. See the three! See the three! And the Raiders jump out on top. No zone for the Raiders as they'll start out in the man-to-man. Kick it inside to Joseph, and the ball swatted out of bounds nicely by Jacobs. Now Ward will trigger the inbound under the basket. We're 34 seconds into this game, and the Raiders have a 3-zip lead. Now inside, and a near steal. DeMonico is able to pick up the loose ball, and Winfrey will hound him all the way out to the center circle. Now Spino, round to Gibson. Back to Spino tries to drive around Dier. Terrence Vaughns was coming out to help out, but a foul will be called on the drive. First foul of the night called on Dier Jenkins of the Raiders. And that will be a shooting foul. So Dante Spino will go to the line to try to give Newcastle their first point. Boy, there's going to be a loud cheer, everything that happens here tonight, one way or the other. And the Raiders student body trying to hassle Spino. He makes one of two. Now Vaughn's the three from the corner, no good, but Chris Jacobs to clean it up. 5-1 Raiders, and full court pressure put on by Uniontown. Oh, and a foul will be called on Dier. Holding foul. And that's two quick fouls on Jenkins. And you don't want to see that. Now Coach Chuck will have a decision to make.
It's unfortunate because I'm sure Dier, after hitting that first three, was, feeling it, so to speak.
Exactly. And you don't want foul trouble to be a determining factor in this game. The two early ones on Jenkins. Uniontown leads by 4, and DeMonico goes right at him. Stripped by Winfrey, and they'll call another foul. Well, we mentioned how close are the officials going to call it. So far, not a good omen for the Raiders. And Dier will have to take an early seat as Brandon Duncan comes into the game, the only junior out of that 7-man Uniontown rotation. He stands 6'2", wears number 30. Dier will have to sit down probably for a considerable amount of action here. And a 5-second count. Ward was unable to inbound it, tried the deep pass to the backcourt to DeMonico. 5 seconds had already expired. Good start for the Red Raiders, as Jesse talked about the importance of playing well in the first period. Newcastle stays in the zone. 6:26 left. Now a long three. And Terrence Vaughn getting his free on. It's 8-1 Raiders. Kevin McLeod going to check in on the next dead ball. Now inside, Joseph forces one up nicely. First field goal for the Red Hurricanes, and it's 8-3, and back comes Uniontown. I don't know about the shot selection there from Joseph, but it worked. Well, Newcastle determined to make Uniontown beat them from outside. You don't want Winfrey putting that shot up. And I know Coach Chuck not pleased about that, especially that early in the possession.
Well, the thing about that shot, Chuck, they can get that shot anytime they want, so need to make a couple more passes.
Wild shot by Spino. Winfrey is there for the rebound. Controlled break. He'll slow it down. As I started to say, Newcastle going to force Uniontown to beat them from outside, and so far they're doing it. Threes by Jenkins and Vaughn. And a putback by Chris Jacobs. Now skip pass over to Brandon Duncan. Entry into Jacobs. Nice look down on the blocks to Farrell. He was fouled prior to the pass. Good ball movement early on by the Raiders, who looked sharp offensively after being so sluggish the past couple of games. Foul was called on Ward. That's his first, and the first foul of the evening on Newcastle. Ball deflected out of bounds. Raiders will maintain possession. Farrell takes the seat as McLeod does enter the game. So Coach Chuck wants to get everybody into that game early here. Get a taste of the game, maybe get any butterflies that may be present out of the way early. Nice entry again to Jacobs. Swing it back around. Good patience by the Raiders. They're up 8-3. Under 5 minutes left here in the first period. Now Vaughn from the other corner. And count it. Sees it, threes it, and bees it. Terrence Vaughn with his second tray of the night. And some contact there as well, but nothing called. 11-3, Raiders by 8. 4:35 in the first period. Newcastle plays throw it away. Red Hurricane turnover in Raider Nation with a lot to cheer about early on.
Newcastle showing a lot of confidence in their team right here, Chuck. I believe most coaches would have already called at least a 30-second timeout. This is a veteran team, and he knows his team well. But if the Raiders score here, I believe they will go to the timeout.
The best three-point shooting so far in the postseason here early on, as they've already hit 3 from the land of 3. That pass knocked out of bounds by Joseph as Duncan tried to hit Vaughns in the corner. Farrell now back in for McLeod. 4:07 left here in the first period. 11-3 here at the A.J. Palumbo Center on the campus of Duquesne University. State semifinals. Now Vaughn, Winfrey, Farrell, short. Winfrey trying to battle, but Ward comes out of there with the rebound. Now the Newcastle fans, after a rare defensive stop by the Red Hurricanes, trying to urge on their squad. Now Kane now in the game, off the bench with 2 for Newcastle. That's Chris Kane, a 6'5" sophomore. First substitution for the Red Hurricane, and it's now 11-5. Good start by Uniontown. They led Erie Prep by 10 in the first half and let up a little bit. Don't want to do that here. And Chris Jacobs inside. Give Winfrey the assist. 4 for Jacobs, and the lead back up to 8. Now double team on Joseph. Finds Kane. Looks to drive baseline. Brings it back to Joseph. Whoa, way up in the air. Terrence Vaughns, a 3-on-1 if they hurry. Here's Winfrey. He'll take it himself. To the house. And the Raiders by 10. .244 left in the first period. 15-5. Coach Chuck could not have asked for a better first period so far for the Red Raiders. And another near steal. In fact, Farrell will chase it down. Oh, got away from him. Thought he was going to run it down in the corner. Now Joseph double team. Gets it to DeMonico. Well, I'm with you, Jess. I think, and that's play a little traveling music, Sammy. Jess, I think they need a timeout badly.
Well, Chuck, obviously our opinion doesn't count.
He's won a lot more games than I have, and a few more than you.
Oh, a whole bunch. Coach Sarandia, former Pitt assistant. So he's been through the wars many, many years on both the high school and college levels.
As long as things keep going this way, it's fine with me if he doesn't call a timeout. 15-5. All zone for Newcastle, but Uniontown having their way with it. Now a little inside-outside action. Farrell on the drive and contact. They're going to call that on the floor. Well, I disagree with that. They're not going to give him shots. I believe the foul will be called on Ward, and that will be his second foul. So now each team has a player with 2. Uniontown will inbound. Boy, I thought he was in the act there.
I would agree with you, Chuck. I thought he was taking his final step and going up to shoot.
The Raider fans are just now realizing that they're calling it a non-shooting foul. They didn't realize that, so a delayed boo. Now the Raiders will set it up with a 10-point lead. Get past to Terrence. Now Newcastle trying to extend that defense. Brandon Duncan from the land of 3. The whole team's getting their 3 on. It's a 13-point Red Raider advantage. Minute 28 left in the first quarter. And now Duncan with the steal. Uses the offhand. And now Coach Sarandria says, I need me a timeout with a minute 18 left in the first quarter, and the score, Uniontown 20, Newcastle 5. And Jeff, I don't think there's anybody in this building that thought they'd see that on the scoreboard late in the first period.
Probably not even Uniontown.
Exactly.
But Uniontown is shooting about 75% here. 1, 2, 3, 4 threes. We talked in the pregame. They can hurt Newcastle from all 5 positions. We thought De'Aaron Jenkins needed to get hot early. We thought Brandon Duncan needed to get hot, and those two have stepped up. Of course, Duncan coming off the bench, 5 quick points, and De'Aaron Jenkins hit his first 3 before he picked up his second foul. But one thing Uniontown can't happen right now is they can't let up. I mean, you can't let up. You can't be satisfied. Newcastle's battle-tested. They'll keep coming back. I'm just surprised that they waited so long to call the timeout to put the fire out.
They got the war paint on down there in Raider Nation. They don't have much else on down there, but they got the war paint on. I'm loving it. That's a Palumbo. Uniontown 4 out of 6 here in the first quarter from 3-point range.
We also talked about in the pregame, we thought this would be a game of runs. Well, obviously, Uniontown has the first run. Now the goal is to try to make Newcastle call the second timeout as well.
Loud on the horizon, though, for the Raiders as David Winfrey now picks up his second foul. So Winfrey and Jenkins with 2 fouls apiece. And I don't think Coach Shuck can afford to sit Winfrey down for the rest of the first half, which means he's going to have to be very careful while he's out there on the floor. I'm sure he will sit down for some action here in the half, but he's out there right now, and he has to be careful. He went for the strip there. I don't think they know how to be careful defensively, the Raiders. They just come right at you. 45 seconds left in the first quarter. Raiders by 15. Boy, Winfrey again. They're all over the Red Hurricane. Joseph. Boy, they needed that 3 badly. 5 points for Dom Joseph. It's 20-8. First 3 of the night for the Red Hurricane. Now Uniontown can play for 1. 25 seconds left. Jacobs looking to drive? No. We'll just kick it out. Run a little more clock. Now Duncan will put it up. No good, but Terrence Vaughns is there. No good. Carl Farrell on the 3rd try. His first 2. And now every Raider starter in the scoring column. 4 seconds left. And there's a steal. And that's the end of the first period. A fitting end as the Raider defense makes the play. Newcastle fans don't like it. They didn't like much about that quarter, but Raider Nation standing and applauding after 1 period of play. The score, Uniontown 22, Newcastle 8. Back with second quarter action right after this on Herald Standard Television Sports. Your dials, do not fiddle with the sound button. You heard me right. Raiders by 14, and the story, Uniontown from 3-point range and Uniontown on the defensive end.
Uniontown 9 for 14, 64% here early with 4 big threes. Newcastle, Chuck, 75% field goals in the first quarter,
hey,
down
good.
14 because they have 6 turnovers. So the shooting's been excellent. It's been Newcastle that has not taken the ball here. 6 turnovers for the Red Hurricane, none for the Raiders.
And they've only taken 4 shots in the entire period. And you're right, they made 3 of them. This will be an offensive foul. And that will be called on Curry. Ralph Curry, who checked into the game to start the second period. Man, just leveled a Red Raider. McLee is now back in the game for Farrell to start the period as well. And now Dante Spino will check back in, and Curry picked up his foul, and now he'll sit down. Yeah, you're not going to win a game getting 4 shots a quarter. It just can't happen. Uniontown has been so sluggish in this postseason. Everybody all week long has been saying they need to step it up against Newcastle. Boy, they stepped it up in those first 8 minutes. But you mentioned this earlier, Jess. There's still 24 minutes to go. They got to keep it going. And Terrence Vaughns misses that shot. Newcastle was down by 14 in the second half of the WPIAL championship game and came back to take the lead. So being down by 14 points early in the second quarter, they're not going to quit. And now Kane caught up in the air but was able to find Joseph. And they're going to call a foul on this one, too. Chris Jacobs will be called for his first foul.
This is where David Winfrey really needs to play smart. He's in there reaching for balls like he always does with 2 fouls, just like the Laurel Highlands away game for them. When you get in foul trouble, especially early, you have to be very smart, and you need to, quit reaching. He has very quick hands, and he'll get a steal or 2, but it's not worth the chance of picking up that 3rd foul here.
Correction, that last foul was on Kevin McLee, not Jacobs. So the first foul on McLee. 15 foul on the Raiders. And Joseph, who has 5 of the 8 Newcastle points, will get a pair from the line. Uniontown has not shot a free throw yet, but that's because they really haven't gone inside much. They're shooting so well from outside. They haven't drawn many fouls from Newcastle. Haven't had to. Misses them both. Newcastle 1 of 4 from the line as a team. Chris Jacobs had the rebound. 7:25 left in the first half. Raiders by 14. Now Newcastle comes out after playing zone the first period. Now comes out in the man-to-man. Thought Coach Sarandria might change defenses a lot throughout the game to try to keep Uniontown off balance. And not a good possession there as Duncan's entry attempt to Jacobs goes out of bounds. Again, D.R. Jenkins came out and hit a 3 on Uniontown's first possession of the game, but then committed 2 quick fouls. And basically sat out that entire first period after that. With over 6 minutes left when he got his second foul, and hasn't been out there yet in the second quarter either. Now Kane had a lane momentarily, skipped it over to DeMonico. Into the corner for Spino. That 3 is no good. McLeese skies for the rebound. Careful on that pass, man. To Duncan, almost a backcourt violation there. He was almost across the line. Now wide open, Christian Jacobs, who had 6. Bonds with the assist, and the Raiders now with their largest lead of the night at 16. I use the phrase doubling up on a team. I haven't used this phrase too often. Uniontown tripling up on Newcastle. It's 24-8. Now inside Joseph, trying to back in on Jacobs in the strip. Textbook defense from the Red Raiders. 6:10 left in the first half. Duncan gets it into Jacobs this time. Ball was blocked, and Jacobs, maybe not a wise idea to save it there. The ball would have been out of bounds in Uniontown's possession. Instead, Jacobs tried to save it. Back comes Newcastle, and Duncan will be called for the foul.
If I can skip ahead for a second, Chuck, with Winfrey and Jenkins with 2 fouls, although Winfrey goes out now, with about a minute and a half to 2 minutes, if the Raiders are still in control, and even if they're not here in the second quarter, Coach Shuck may want to consider taking them out so they don't pick up their third.
Now David's out of the game now, but Dier is back in. So he has to be careful. Now Kane will spot up. That shot no good. Boy, skying in the air was Gibson, and they're going to say that Farrell touched it last. Right there in front of all those Uniontown students, they didn't like that call at all. 5:43 left in the half. The foul on Duncan a few moments ago was the 6th team foul on the Raiders, so Newcastle will be in the bonus the rest of the way. Boy, nobody was moving for Newcastle. DeMonico was waiting for somebody to get a move on it, and he had to use up another timeout.
I believe that's called a major brain cramp, and I stole that term from you from a month ago.
Well, that's okay. I do expect royalties, though. It's 24-8 with 5:43, and boy, other than the foul trouble, not too much has gone wrong so far for Uniontown, Jess.
Well, surprisingly, I guess it's not surprisingly, but if Newcastle can't score, then they're not able to even look at that half-court trap at half-court. They did try a 1-2-2 trap around the top of the key with about 2 minutes to go in the first half, but the movement by the Raiders just so quick, playing a very cerebral game to this point. Only 2 turnovers, none in the first quarter. But again, Chuck, I think it's going to be a game of runs. Uniontown had a whole first quarter run. So I do look for Newcastle to make a mini run or two here in quarter number 2.
You just get the sense from what we've seen so far that Uniontown, and they've been wearing those T-shirts about being on a mission. They came out like they were on a mission tonight. And again, Newcastle's taken a few haymakers. Now how do they bounce back? That will be the key. And this last 5:43 of the half is, I think, just crucial for Newcastle. Get it down in the single digits by halftime, and I think they're in good shape. Now, yes, a turnover. DeMonico stepped on the line.
Not what you want to happen after a timeout. The last time they took a timeout, they came out, they were patient, and got a good shot in a hoop. Here they go. They have a Chuck Durso brain cramp, as you said.
Well, I don't know if I like that phrase. That implies that I have a... You're right. No, you're right. I do get them all the time.
Here they go with their 1-2-2 half-court trap because the ball was out of bounds. They were able to set this up. We'll see how the Raiders handle it this time.
Get the ball in the middle at every opportunity. That's how you attack it. When you get the ball in the middle, now you have a 3-on-2 if you move the ball quickly. Well, I don't know if they want to keep doing this for too much longer. Now they get it to Chris Jacobs. Well, that was the plan, and Jacobs will go to the line, and let's hope he's not hurt.
The Raiders showed great patience there. Just played patty cake out on top with the point man, and I think Newcastle got a little lazy after about 10 passes, and Christian Jacobs was wide open in the middle. When you get it in the middle, then you attack 3-on-2, which Chris did.
Foul trouble now for Leon Ward. That is his third. And John Sarandria will have to make a decision and probably bring him out. No, check that. Scoreboard had it wrong. The foul was not on number 4, Ward. It was on number 44. As Jacobs makes the first free throw. That was Joe Carter off the bench, so his first foul. Yeah, it's pretty clear what the strategy is. They're going to be patient and just throw it around outside, but as soon as they get the ball in the middle, you saw Jacobs immediately turn and attack, because if you move the ball quickly again, you have a man advantage there if you turn and go.
Chris Jacobs is as fine a player from 15 feet and in as you'll find in Western Pennsylvania.
Makes both of the free throws, and now the Raiders up by 18. They have all 4 points here in this period. It's 26-8 as we approach the 5-minute mark remaining in the half. And now Newcastle looking rattled offensively. Kane dropping the ball there. I mean, they're trying to rush things. And a near steal. Jacobs was out of bounds. Right call. Spino was driving, and with those Uniontown quick hands, I mean, they are just stripping the ball down low. That's the third or fourth time they've done that. DeMonico. The drive is no good. Hoover is there, and Chris Jacobs will be called for his first foul. So now Gibson, I called him Hoover by his first name. It sounds like it should be a last name, but it's Hoover Gibson, number 52. Chris Jacobs was trying to sweep up Hoover there with that swat attempt.
Now, our stats are unofficial, of course, Chuck, but according to our stats, Newcastle only has 1 rebound, offensive rebound, but they've only missed 3 shots the entire game, and they're down 17.
They've missed 4 free throws in this game, though, out of 6 attempts. Hoover gets 1 out of 2. Or Gibson gets 1 out of 2. I did it again. And here we go again. Be patient. 26-9. 4.5 minutes left. Again, David Winfrey on the bench with 2 fouls. De'Aaron Jenkins on the floor with 2. Here's De'Aaron, gets it from Chris Jacobs. Baseline jumper, no good, and Gibson with the rebound. But again, a good look. Shot didn't go down, but they got the look they wanted. So after looking so shaky against that half-court trap in the Whippeal Championship game, Uniontown strong the first 2 times against it here tonight. Or the first 2 times in this period. They did see it briefly in the first quarter. Now DeMonico. Yes, play me a little trembling music, Sammy. It's another Newcastle turnover.
9 turnovers for Newcastle halfway through the second quarter. 9 turnovers and only 6 shots, 6 field goal attempts.
By the way, I usually do the references for the kids, but I throw in a little Jackie Gleason there for the older folks. You like that?
That was good, Chuck.
Yeah, Carl Ferro with the score. Uniontown by 19. It's quiet up here. We're in amongst the Newcastle fans. That's what I mean by that. Now DeMonico, lucky he wasn't called for the charge. Jacobs gets to Farrell. He'll slow it down. Jacobs won't. Back to Farrell. Look at that ball movement. Oh, my goodness. Somebody's putting on a clinic. And they're wearing white. 30-9. 3:05 left in the first half. Are you kidding me? Oh, passed up a shot there. Spino looked like he had one. But they're just rattled right now. Out of bounds or a foul? They're going to call a foul on Terrence Vaughn. That will be his first. Newcastle in the bonus. So DeMonico will get the 1-and-1 as Ward checks back in for Spino. Been the only negative for Uniontown in this half is the fouls they've committed. That is their 19th foul.
If we can stay right there, Chuck. If I was Dave Shuck, I would keep David Winfrey on the bench with 2 fouls, and I would get De'Aaron Jenkins out of there immediately.
Missed the front end of the one-on-one. Now Jacobs, no kick called. Ball was stolen by Gibson. Now Kane. Duncan falls down. Oh, defensive lapse there. And a throw down by Gibson. 2:28 left in the half. Newcastle finally in double digits. It's 30-11. The one problem with doing that, Jess, is you're going a lot bigger than Coach Shuck normally likes to go if you're going to have McLee, Farrell, and Jacobs all in the lineup. He likes to go with those 3 guards. If you consider Duncan a guard, that might cause him to hesitate to do that. But we'll see. 2:06 left. Of course, you can run out some clock here offensively, and you don't have to worry about De'Aaron picking up a foul as long as he doesn't drive to the hoop. Look out! Now you have numbers. Terrence Vaughn, wide open to Farrell. Oh, that is pretty. 8 points for Carl. 1:49 left, and Uniontown leads it by 21. And we're not playing blackjack. Now a strip. Jacobs, and he had De'Aaron ahead of the field. Didn't see him. 1.5 left here in the first half. Kick it into Farrell, and he's bumped. Gibson will be called for the foul. That's only the 3rd foul on the Red Hurricanes. They haven't been able to catch Uniontown to foul them. Spino back in for Kane. 1:22 left. We are at the A.J. Palumbo Center. It is the state semifinals. Winner advances to Hershey on Saturday to play for the state championship. Duncan cutting. Vaughn thought about him. Careful with that pass. Now Brandon gets it. Uniontown right now doesn't even appear to be looking at the basket. Minute left. I'm sure they'd love to play for one if they can. Now Duncan thought he might shoot there. They're definitely looking to run some clock. Raider Nation, please. Be careful, though. Don't get sloppy. And look at that quick ball movement. Yeah, Newcastle fans are booing. And a foul was called. DeMonico with a push on Duncan. His first, team 4th. Newcastle has some fouls to give here. So they can afford to take a few gambles. Go for some steals. 39 seconds remaining here in the first half. Again, David Winfrey has sat out most of the second quarter with those 2 fouls. And boy, Uniontown able to get away with it. De'Aaron Jenkins sat out most of the first quarter with 2 fouls. 20 seconds remaining. Newcastle now in the man-to-man. Terrence Vaughn. Oh, little push-off. Yeah, that's the right call. And that's not good because now Terrence has 2 fouls. He'd rather have gone into the break without picking up that second foul. Now Terrence and De'Aaron have to be very smart with 14 seconds left that neither one picks up a 3rd foul. I think DeMonico embellished that a little bit, but still I think Terrence definitely pushed off.
What you do when you're on defense, you have to act a little bit, and it was probably a very good call.
14 seconds, 32-11, and now Newcastle will get the final shot. Don't foul him, Terrence. DeMonico, boy, he's trying to draw that foul. That's a smart play. Now Spino will fire one up from 3. No good. Ball comes to Duncan, who touched it last. Newcastle, Uniontown will inbound with 2 seconds remaining. Newcastle will wisely put some pressure on here. Long pass, De'Aaron fires one at the buzzer, well short. But I'll tell you what, you cannot play a more picture-perfect first half than we've just witnessed from the Uniontown Red Raiders. And at the half, the score is Uniontown 32, Newcastle 11. Jess and I will be back with a halftime program right after this on HSTV Sports.
It'd be interesting to see after the game what he found to make a hoot about, no doubt there will be at least one thing. And that one thing has to be, this game is not over, and don't let up, and let's try to bury them now.
What can Newcastle do? Now, in the WPIAL championship game, they went to that trap defense, and the entire game changed around. They made a furious run, but Uniontown has shown that they're prepared for that tonight, so I don't think Coach Sarandria can go to that. What else does he have in his bag of tricks?
Pray? Well, you can go to a half-court trap, and you can go to a diamond, which puts a person in the middle. You only have one person underneath the hoop. Now, that person has to run the whole baseline. Of course, so anytime you're trapping, you're going to give up something. But obviously, the 1-2-2 was not the answer here in the first half.
Coach Sarandria, a very good coach. I'm sure he's devising something there in the locker room. Now, Uniontown, it's always been a big issue over the past few years when they play with a lead and they start taking the air out of the ball. Assuming that Newcastle stays in that defense that we've seen, Uniontown probably will be content to keep throwing it around after the way they played in the first half. Would that be a wise choice?
You like controversy, don't you, Chuck?
It's what I live for.
Okay. Well, I don't want to... It's hard to say. I mean, Newcastle has their backs against the ball. We're surprised they didn't call an extra timeout or two. They've got to go. I don't think they can play straight man. Uniontown, I would think, would not go to a delay game anywhere in the third quarter for more than 30 seconds. Nothing wrong with taking 30 seconds, but then get back in your offense, because with 16 minutes to go, you just don't want to lose that offensive flow that you're in. And Uniontown shot 63% in the first half. Newcastle 44, not too bad. Newcastle 11 turnovers, only 9 field goal attempts. So I think when you have all the momentum going your way, I think you play basketball. It doesn't make me right, though.
And we talked about Newcastle withstanding a few haymakers. How would they respond in that second quarter? 1 of 5 from the field, so they didn't respond particularly well. Uniontown, on the other hand, offensively, spreading the wealth. D.R. Jenkins hit the early three. Terrence Vaughns has hit from downtown. Brandon Duncan and Chris Jacobs and Carl Farrell looking very good inside. It really has been a team effort from the Raiders.
Absolutely. Brandon Duncan, big off the bench, a big three, another 2, 5 quick points that helped stretch that lead in the first quarter. The Raiders need to play smart, especially 3 of the players that have 2 personal fouls.
And the defense from the Raiders right from the start, and they have committed a lot of fouls, but that's because they have been swarming all over Newcastle, creating all of those turnovers. They have just been harassing the Red Hurricanes. And again, a team with a lot of experience, a team that's lost only 1 game this year, you would think they would be up to the task, but right now, they look like they're in a daze.
I was just ready to go there. I think that we can all identify with the phrase, a deer caught in the headlights. I think that's where Newcastle has been at least the entire second quarter. I think it took a quarter for them to go into shock, but down 21 at half, it's somewhat reminiscent of a WPIAL championship game about 4 years ago when Newcastle played Fox Chapel. Newcastle was up 30-some points at halftime. Game was over. Here we are, 21. I don't think the game's over yet, though.
Not over, but is it safe to say that these first 3 or 4 minutes of the third quarter are crucial? Doesn't Newcastle have to start to cut into that lead soon?
No question. And again, we'll go back to Uniontown wants to shorten the game, but you do not want to freeze the ball. It'll be very interesting to see what John Sarandria does here to try to get back in this game. Their goal is to try to get it to 10-ish or cut the lead in half entering the fourth quarter.
A lot of doubters about the Red Raiders over the way they've played the past couple of games, and some people wondering if they were up to the task of taking on Newcastle in this Western Final. So far, they've been up to the task. They are 16 minutes away from Hershey, but those 16 minutes could be the longest of the season. The Raiders lead by 21, looking good so far. We'll see how things go in the second half. Back with the third quarter in just a few moments. Again, at the half, Uniontown leads at 32-11. Back right after this on HSTV Sports. Newcastle will get the opening possession. Uniontown, as they were the entire first half, comes out in the man-to-man. Now Ward on the drive. Shot no good, and Farrell is there for the rebound. Careful. Ward trying to strip him from behind. I think Newcastle touched it last. DeMonico. So the Raiders will inbounds, and Newcastle going to pick them up full court. And a quick turnover. And a score by Spino. And be careful again. And now, numbers, Terrence Vaughns. Gets it to Farrell. They're just calling it out of bounds. Boy, it looked like a lot of contact to me. Spino with the strip. And again, the Uniontown fans belatedly realizing that they're not calling a foul on that. A little shaky off that full court pressure. Now Chris Jacobs. Ball knocked away. Terrence Vaughns gets it down to D.R. Jenkins, but he's fouled first on the floor. First foul of the second half is called on Spino. And that's his first of the night. So Coach Sarandria changing up defenses, going full court trap, and gave Uniontown some trouble.
And they did go to a diamond with their extended pressure to put somebody in the middle.
See, that's why you're the coach. Now Winfrey, look at that spin move. Spino trying to draw the charge. I think a good no call by the officials. 4 for Winfrey. Uniontown back up by 21. Now Joseph. Gets off to Gibson. And offensive foul call. Terrence Vaughns draws the charge. Second on Gibson. 6:48 left in the third quarter. Uniontown 34, Newcastle 13. Joseph deflects it out of bounds. Uniontown will inbounds once again. 1-2-1-1. Full court press being put on right now by the Red Hurricanes. And Winfrey will try to dribble through it and does. And miscommunication there. D.R. Jenkins thought that he was going to drive to the hoop. They had a 3-on-2 going. D.R. cut to the basket, and David threw it behind him. I thought he was going to continue on as well. Now a near steal by D.R. Well, he did save that too, but the ball eventually does roll out of bounds. 6:36 left in the third quarter. A couple of early turnovers by the Red Raiders.
The goal here in the third quarter, Chuck, for Uniontown is nothing more than to win the quarter. Win the quarter, whether it's 15-14, 3-2, or 29-28. They want to win the quarter.
Short by DeMonico. Terrence Vaughns lost it. Gibson to Spino. Where's the offensive foul there? Now a foul will be called. Thought that was a charge. Third foul on Vaughns. Well, that's what we're talking about at the end of the first half. Picking up that second foul was big, because if he gets an early foul here, now he got 3, and he's going to have to sit down. As Brandon Duncan will come in. Spino connects on the first free throw. He is now 2 out of 3. This is the second. Rebound by Winfrey. Now we'll slow it down. Oh, a little push off. Instead they call Spino. Well, now it's Newcastle's turn to bark a little bit, as the fans in the stands not liking that. And it looked like Winfrey threw a little arm there.
Well, but I think they caught the first one instead of the second one for once. Usually we officials, we catch the second one, but this guy was good enough to catch the first one.
Now Winfrey on the drive. Blocked by Gibson, who gives him a little stare down, but a foul had been called. I believe the foul was called on Joseph before Gibson's block. That's the 4th team foul already, less than 2 minutes into the half against Newcastle. First on Joseph. Winfrey now will shoot a pair from the line. 6:01 left here in the third quarter, and Uniontown leads it by 20. First miss tonight for Uniontown from the line. They only shot 2 free throws in the first half. Chris Jacobs making them both. Now David 0 for 2. So a glimmer for the Red Hurricanes. They've narrowed the lead by 1 so far in the first 2 minutes. Now Gibson from outside. That's no good. Long rebound. Comes to Ward. Shot no good. Gibson keeps it alive. Good hustle by Gibson. It's an 18-point game. Now Duncan, and he will be fouled. And Ward will be called for his 3rd foul, and now 5 team fouls on the Red Hurricanes. Payne will check back in for Newcastle. I'm sure Ward will take a seat with those 3 fouls. Again, Uniontown went most of the first period without D.R. Jenkins, most of the second period without David Winfrey. And now Terrence Vaughn's on the bench here in the third quarter. Hasn't derailed the Raider freight train yet. They're up by 18. Now D.R. Jenkins, wide open baseline, can't get the crawl. Chris Jacobs kept it alive for a moment, but then out of bounds. So back will come Newcastle. Well, you get a sense that the third quarter not going quite the way Uniontown would have wanted it to go so far. Now Joseph, Duncan, and a nice play by Farrell to bang it off of Joseph. He's complaining. Maybe he didn't feel the ball hit him. There's no doubt that Farrell saved it right off of Joseph. Well, somebody got to get a move on it here. And Duncan will bring it across. Feet slid a little bit. The crowd wanted to travel. Now D.R. Jenkins. See the 3. Be the 3. D.R. hit a tray right off the bat. First possession of the game. Those are his first points since then. Uniontown now back up by 21 where they started the half. And Duncan near steal, but he'll be called for the hold. Second foul on Brandon.
I'm sorry.
You go right ahead.
Newcastle in a flex offense right now. That means down screens and weak side screens off the ball.
Vaughn's on the bench with 3 fouls. Winfrey, Jenkins, Duncan all have 2. 4:40 left here in the third quarter. It's 37-16 Uniontown. And now Duncan, a steal. Gets it ahead to Farrell. Got caught up in the air, though. Should have stopped. Now DeMonico loses it. And Jacobs gets it to D.R. And back come the Raiders. I think the crowd wanted to travel there. I say the crowd, I mean the Newcastle crowd. .4:15 left. Now D.R. looking to drive. Tries to kick it to Farrell. No need to save it. Oh, not a... And Dave Shuck wants a timeout right away. Not happy with D.R.'s decision to try to kick it down to Farrell on the blocks when the pass wasn't there, and I'm not sure why David Winfrey even went for that basketball. It rolls out of bounds. It's a Raider ball.
The only thing we can think of, Chuck, is perhaps David didn't see that it went off a Newcastle person. But if you can ever grab a ball, you try to do it. You try to do it if you're sure you can grab the ball. You never leave it up to an official to make a call.
4:05 left in the third period. First timeout called by Uniontown. It's a 30. Newcastle has 3 timeouts remaining, and we're not positive if it's 2 fulls and a 30 or 3 fulls. We think it's 2 fulls and a 30, but unfortunately, we're about 150 feet away from the scoring table.
That's all?
That's elevation.
Oh, yeah. We could expect snow up here. Is that what you're
yes,
saying?
exactly.
Well, Uniontown's played them even here, 5-5 in halfway through the third quarter, so that's the goal. Just try to win the quarter.
Now Joseph. Ooh, didn't get the shot to go, but Gibson was there for the follow. 7 points for Gibson, and now a steal and a score by Spino. And a quick timeout called again by Coach Shuck. No hesitation at all to use another 30. He does not want to even give Newcastle any thoughts that they can still win this game.
It's a very good timeout by Dave Shuck. And I was just about ready to say before the last timeout, that Newcastle has not been able to string back-to-back buckets, but one other time before this sequence right here. This is what they need to thrive on. They need to get the fans energized, because the Newcastle fans have not been in this game since the first couple minutes.
3:46 remaining here in the third quarter. It's now 37-20. And again, Uniontown is up by 17, but I don't know. You just get a feeling. I don't know. Or is that just me, Jeff?
No, it's a game of runs. Newcastle has yet to make their run. They may have started one there. Good timeout, as we said. Uniontown must take care of the ball after only 3 turnovers in the entire first half. They check in with 5 midway through the third quarter, 5 in the third quarter alone.
Now the long pass to Brandon Duncan to get it in bounds. Much better that time. Again, Terrence Vaughn's not out there. Chris Jacobs on the runner. That's no good. And the rebound pulled down by Spino. And now he calls a timeout because he was double-teamed under the basket. And that's a timeout Coach Sarandria may wish he had at the end of the game.
But you certainly don't fault a player there. I think for the most part, we coaches tell our players, when you get in trouble, you always know coming out of the timeout how many timeouts you have left. That's one of the last things you say to your kids is, we have 3 left, if we have 2 left. Most of the times you tell them, use one if we're in trouble. So you don't fault the player there. Newcastle, really, this is their time. They've put together back-to-back hoops, and it's very important that they come down and work for a good shot. Uniontown must get back in this game mentally.
That was a 30, so now Newcastle has 2 full timeouts remaining. Uniontown has all 3 of their full timeouts remaining. 3.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Uniontown leads by 17. And you're right, they just seem, you get the sense they may have let up a little bit. And now Spino with the 3, and it's a 14-point game. Ball knocked out of bounds. And now the Red Hurricane fans up en masse. Uniontown gets it across. Now they need to be patient. They're a little impatient offensively here, after being very patient in that second quarter. Quick shots so far here in the third period. And now Brandon Duncan for 3. His second trifecta of the evening, and now, just like that, the lead is 17. And psychologically, you sense that may have been a very big bucket. Now Kane wants to answer. It's short. Chris Jacobs with the rebound. And now a Uniontown bucket here, and you feel that maybe they've withstood at least that run.
It was a 7-0 run by Newcastle.
Traveling will be called on Farrell. Wave off the bucket. Now Ward will check back in. Kane will come out. I'm not sure Coach Sarandria wanted that 3 from Kane there. Again, that was a case where Newcastle may be a little impatient offensively. Carter now checks back in for Spino. Spino has played a fine game, picking up several big rebounds and has 9 points as well. In fact, he's the leading scorer now sitting on the bench for the Red Hurricanes. 2:20 left in the third quarter. Raiders by 17. Now DeMonico from way downtown. That will be way short. Good save by Gibson. And DeMonico will go to the line. And I think a couple Raiders stood around there just thinking the ball was going out of bounds. Gibson hustled. Third foul called on Winfrey. So he now joins Vaughns with 3 fouls. That's not major foul trouble now that we're late in the third period, but again, it's a little bit of a concern. Actually, we're in the state semifinals. There's no such thing as a little bit of a concern. If it's a concern, it's a big concern if you're a coach right now, right, Jeff?
That's it.
DeMonico 0 for 2 tonight from the free throw line, and neither one's been close. Makes that one. And it's 40-24. Back to the full court pressure that the Raiders have struggled with. Good no call there, but dangerous pass, and now the foul will be called. And now the Red Hurricane fans are really screaming, but I think both of those calls were proper. DeMonico's called for his second. They didn't go Newcastle's way. First the no call and then the call. But both times, I think the proper decision. Under 2 minutes left in the third quarter, and now Raiders will go into the weave. Without Vaughn's out there, but they got Winfrey, Jacobs, and Jenkins, and a foul will be called, and I think this is DeMonico again. So he picks up 2 quick ones. That gives him 3, and that puts Uniontown to the line. That's the 17th foul on Newcastle, so third quarter, and already Uniontown in the bonus. Such a great free throw shooting team, although Winfrey perhaps not included in that group of really good free throw shooters for Uniontown, but where they could make some hay the rest of the half here from the line. Front end of the 1-and-1, that's a big one.
You mentioned they're playing without Terrence Vaughns. I believe it's a good move by the Raiders staff to keep him out with 3 since they have a 17-point lead at this point.
Second one rolls out. 5 points for David. Minute 44 here in the third period. Duncan with the steal. And he's ahead of the field. Oh, nice block. Oh, they will call the foul. Well, I wondered if there was contact, but I thought they were going to let it go, so I said it must be clean. And now the official, a little stare down on the Newcastle bench. You got to be careful. Don't want to pick up a technical. That's 4 fouls on Ward, so he becomes the first player to get in serious foul trouble. And Spino will check in after this first free throw. Duncan will shoot a pair from the line.
It's a good break for the Raiders. Tough one against Newcastle. Dave Gambridge made the call. Dave, an excellent player at St. Vincent. Been refereeing in college and high school for 20-plus years. Just a tough break for Newcastle, but the Raiders will take anything they can get at this point.
Brandon Duncan off the bench, the leading scorer right now for Uniontown as he reaches double digits with 10. They have really spread it around offensively. And now Uniontown back up by 18. They've led by as much as 21. Newcastle got to within 14 at one point. Now it's a 16-point game after the Joseph score. Now Winfrey, 3-on-2. Gets it to Dier for the score. 8 for Jenkins. Attack the press. That's the way you do it. And it's a 19-point game. And Duncan. Boy, Duncan's playing very fine defensive basketball here tonight as well. The only non-senior among that Red Raider rotation. He'll be the big gun coming back next year, of course, and playing himself quite a game here tonight. 1 minute remaining. Now Spino, way out of control. Oh, they're going to call the block. And they're calling it on the floor. I'm not sure it was a block, and if it was a block, I'm not sure it was a non-shooting foul.
I think you're 1 for 2.
Okay, which one did you?
I think it was a good call. I think it was a block, but I thought that Newcastle was in the act of shooting.
Okay.
He was right under the hoop going up.
That's the first on Farrell. 4th team foul, so inbound situation for the Red Hurricanes. 55 seconds left here in the third quarter. Uniontown leads it by 19. Again, they led by 21 at the start of the quarter, and now Farrell will be called again as he went for the steal.
Well, the Raiders are hustling. I'm just not sure they need that foul in that situation. 30 feet from the hoop, up 19 with under a minute to go in the third quarter.
And again, it puts Newcastle that much closer to the bonus situation now as it's 5 team fouls on Uniontown here in the third quarter. McLeod checks back in for Farrell. Terrence Vaughns has sat out virtually the entire third quarter. We'll probably see him. And McLeod with the rejection, but it comes right back to Joseph. 9 points for Joseph. Duncan skips it over to Jenkins. 30 seconds left. Uniontown could play for 1. Show some patience here. We'll see. 17-point lead, and they will. Newcastle apparently not going to go out and harass them now. There they come out. 15 seconds. Dier double team. Got to be careful. There's Chris Jacobs back to Dier. 10 seconds. Now you got to start to look to the basket. 7 seconds. 5 seconds. And a near steal, and now 2 seconds remaining. So Uniontown, not a good possession there. Coach Shuck won't be pleased about that. They're not going to get a good look here. They will have time to fling one up.
Here's a place where you could put Terrence Vaughns in with 2 seconds to go and maybe steal a hoop.
Winfrey. It'll count if it goes, and it rolls around and out. And that will end the third period. Well, they didn't win the quarter, but in a sense, they may have still won the quarter. We'll talk about that when we come back. The 21-point lead is cut to just 17. 1 more mile to go. 8 minutes from Hershey. After 3 quarters, the score, Uniontown 45, Newcastle 28. Back with fourth quarter action after this on HS. 45-28. Uniontown leads by 17. Newcastle outscoring Uniontown 17-13 in that quarter. But if you're Uniontown, that's not too bad. You still have a nice cushion.
That wasn't the goal, but I'm sure going into the fourth quarter up 17, I don't think you could ask for any more. So, again, Raiders must come out and win the next 4 minutes. Right. You've got to play aggressively. I don't think they'll put it in the deep freeze. Newcastle heated up that quarter, shooting 50%, and we'll see what kind of defense Newcastle. Looks like they're going to start in a man. They have to watch. Uniontown has to watch that they don't get trapped in this.
Terrence Vaughn's back out there now to start the fourth period. Jenkins kicks it into Jacobs. Shot no good, and the rebound by Joseph. We remind you, Newcastle trailed by 13 at the start of the fourth quarter in the WPIAL championship game. That was a game that was much different than this game, but still, they came back then, and now Jenkins ahead of the field. 10 points for Dier. That was a game that was close most of the way, and Uniontown had a late third quarter run, so you got the sense that Newcastle could come back. Tonight, Uniontown is controlled from the start. So it's been a totally different kind of game, but still Newcastle very much in it. And now Joseph and McClee, maybe not a wise choice to go for the block there. Instead of putting a body on Gibson, Gibson gets the offensive putback. 17-point game. 1 minute expired here in the fourth quarter, and we start to look at the clock. A long way to go yet, but we start to look at the time. Now David Winfrey picks up his dribble. Jacobs comes out to help.
I believe Uniontown is in their delay game, Chuck.
Well, it's early for it. Let's see. Say what you want about this delay. Uniontown hasn't lost a game yet this year when they've gone into it, so.
Again, if they can take 30, 40 seconds off and then get into their offense, I think that would be a good move.
Yeah, because there aren't many 30 or 40 second segments left in this game. So that is true, but they have to hit their free throws here in this fourth quarter. And now Kevin McClee, and again, not one of their better free throw shooters, will now go to the line with the 1-and-1. This was the 19th foul. Foul was called on Gibson, his third. So this is one in the bonus. McClee's first free throw of the evening. Uniontown is 5 for 8 as a team from the line. And Kevin misses. Everything will be 2 shots from here on out as they're now in the double bonus. Spino. Wild shot from 3. Now a scramble, and it comes back out. Now DeMonico for 3. That's no good, and McClee with the rebound. And now Jacobs has Jenkins with a step, but he will wisely pull it back. The clock more important than taking a risk on that pass. As we're under 6 minutes, and the Uniontown fans stand and cheer. The air into Jacobs. Up and in. 12 for Jacobs. 5:42. Uniontown by 19. And now some Newcastle faithful starting to give up the ship. Couple fans leaving the Palumbo. I think it might be a little early for that. As 132 fouls another. Jacobs will be called for the foul on Joseph. That will be the 6th team foul on the Raiders. Second on Chris. 5:28 left. Boy, more than a few Newcastle fans left after that Chris Jacobs bucket, Jeff. Now Gibson. Triple team and scores and is fouled. This one's not over yet. Or again, is that just me? I don't feel comfortable yet if you're Uniontown.
I can tell you Dave Shuck isn't comfortable yet.
11 points for Gibson. He is the leading scorer for Newcastle. Now we'll try to convert the three-point play and does. So it's 49-33. Uniontown having success with that diagonal pass now. But here's a steal. Not a good pass there by Jacobs. And another three-point opportunity. As Spino scores. And this would make it a 13-point game if he can convert. A little bit of a lazy pass there. You have to maintain your focus. You have to concentrate for this final 5-14. Shot is no good. Gibson almost got the rebound. Boy, the tension is thick here at the A.J. Palumbo Center on the campus of Duquesne University here in Pittsburgh. Uniontown will run a little more clock as the time moves under 5 minutes. Now Jacobs needs help. Ball is deflected. Wide the whistle blow. A foul called on DeMonico away from the ball. So Terrence Vaughns will go to the line as DeMonico is called for his fourth foul. And he, of course, the point guard for Newcastle, so that becomes a major situation. How bad do you think Terrence Vaughns wants to make free throws in the fourth quarter after missing that one late against Prep? These his first two of the night. And again, we're in the double bonus, so everything will be a two-shot foul for Uniontown. The Red Raiders, by the way, have committed 8 team fouls. Eight points for Terrence Vaughns. 16-point Red Raider lead. 4:45 on a turning clock. Now Joseph looks to drive. Nice dish to Gibson for the score. 14-point game. Uniontown breaks the pressure. Chris Jacobs blocked from behind. McLeod and sends him to the line. And the fans aren't booing. They're just chanting boo. 4:24 left. And McLeod will have a chance for a three-point play. And Ward has just walked the play. His fifth foul, and Kane will check back in. Well, Uniontown looking to run some clock, but when they get the ball down low to Jacobs, he's going to the hoop. Couldn't get the free throw. Kevin 0 for 2 from the line. Near steal by Jacobs. Joseph really trying to create now. Spino, long three. Gibson skying for the rebound, and now DeMonico's three is no good. Look at Gibson up on the offensive board. And now the foul will be called on McLeod. That will be on the floor. So it will be a 1-and-1. As Kevin is called for his second, the 19th foul on Uniontown. And DeMonico, who is 2 for 3 from the line, will shoot one on the, and hopefully not the bonus. 3:59 remaining. Farrell will come back in now for McLeod. Well, what a huge play Carl Farrell made in that Erie Cathedral Prep game following that Winfrey miss with that slam that broke the tie late. Put the Raiders ahead to stay. Electrifying play. Way short on the free throw. But look at that. Some contact, nothing called. And now, oh, you're going to call a block on Farrell. But boy, Joseph certainly leaned in, no doubt about that. Thought there was contact coming down on the rebound. That thought D.R. Jenkins was fouled before that, Jess. Well, now Joseph, who is 0 for 2 from the line as well. Newcastle has just shot atrociously from the free throw line. That hasn't helped their cause as they've had to play catch up the whole game. Now, this was the 10th team foul. That was a shooting foul anyway. But both teams are now in the double bonus. Joseph in double figures now with 10. 3 Newcastle players have reached double figures. They've done basically all of the scoring. Spino, Joseph, and Gibson have all but 3 of the Red Hurricane points. 14-point game, 53-39. Talked about those first 4 minutes, Jess. Well, we're just about where we were at the start of the quarter as D.R. Jenkins scores, and he has 12. It was 17 when the quarter began. Now it's 16 and ahead of the field. Off the steal, another Red Raiders score. 3.5 minutes left, and now it's an 18-point Uniontown lead. And that was a huge sequence there. And now more Newcastle fans get up. A big wave. Nice backdoor cut, and Joseph with the score. Those back-to-back DR buckets have just convinced a lot of Newcastle fans that it's just not to be. I don't think Dave Shuck's convinced just yet as we approach the 3-minute mark. 57-41. Under 3 minutes left. And the Raider fans, Raider Nation, showing their appreciation as Uniontown plays station to station. It's been a night of domination. Don't stop me, Jess. I'm on a roll. They're doing better than if they were playing on PlayStation. Backdoor cut for the bucket. David Winfrey. Stand up and cheer, Raider Nation. It's an 18-point lead. That's a travel. Oh, they called a foul. I want all the calls. Eric just going along for the ride. Now Winfrey with his 4th foul. Jess, I might have to stand up here. I got too many Newcastle fans getting in my way as they head for the exits. I can't see the floor.
Well, who would have thunk it, Chuck, after this game has been hyped perhaps more than any game in many, many, many years. This and the WPIAA final game. These two teams have been talked about even before this season began. So the excitement built through the WPIAA final, and right after that game, everyone was talking about a potential rematch right here at Duquesne. And here we are. The Raiders have played extremely well almost every minute of this ball game.
And I stand corrected, my apologies, but that was the 5th foul on David Winfrey. So he has now fouled out. So they will have to go the final 2-18 without their point guard. Fortunately, they have themselves a huge cushion of 16 points. And a timeout is called by John Sarandria. That leaves him with 1. 59-43. Again, it's Harrisburg against Lancaster McCaskey. Lancaster McCaskey's been quite a story over on the eastern side with a big win in the quarterfinals over Coatesville, who a lot of people thought were Hershey bound. That game is being played tonight and probably wrapping up right about now as well. And by the time you watch this, if you're watching our debut edition on Thursday night, I'm sure you know who's going to be in the state finals from the eastern side. And a couple more minutes, Jess, and Uniontown will get there from the west, it looks like.
Over in the east, 2 of the lower seeds from the entire eastern bracket made it to the eastern final. Here in the west, the 2 strongest teams, perhaps, made it to the western final. Of course, Uniontown, definitely the number 1 team in the state. Newcastle just right behind. But we look with 2:18 to go, 16 points. Uniontown has a comfortable lead, but I think you want to finish strong here. You don't want to just get mentally lazy and win by 10, win by 8. I think you want to finish strong and put the finishing touches on it.
Uniontown led 22-8 after the first quarter, and Newcastle just has never been able to get back into it. Now Terrence Vaughn's dribbling between two Red Hurricanes, and the foul will be called. I believe Spino is going to be called, and that will be his second foul. So now Terrence will go back to the line and shoot a pair. Uniontown only 7 of 12 from the line tonight, but Winfrey is 1 for 4 and McLeay is 0 for 2. Bonds, Jacobs, and Duncan have combined to go 6 for 6. And Terrence will add to that. A Raider student body down here down to our right. I don't think they've sat down since halftime. They're going to Hershey for the second time in 3 years. In 2 minutes, it's an 18-point game. Newcastle appeared to maybe be poised to make a run at a couple moments there in the second half, but Uniontown had every answer. Now Joseph no good. Gibson, boy, he has played himself a good game for Newcastle on the offensive boards in particular. Got to give him his props. And now Spino will drive. Smart play by Chris Jacobs. Just let him go. No need to foul and stop the clock. 16-point game as we approach a minute and a half remaining. And now Uniontown doesn't even have to look to the basket. They'll just play clock and force Newcastle to foul. Now Terrence picked up his dribble. Skips it over to Duncan. Oh, a throwaway there by Terrence. Miscommunication between he and Jacobs. And Coach Chuck. You think he could relax with 81 seconds left, but he's a coach, right? By the way, great honor for Coach Shuck. Was picked to be the coach of the Pennsylvania team in the Hoops Classic against the National All-Star. And Terrence Bonds says, son, you don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here. A block and a layup. Just to finish the point, Coach Shuck turned down the honor. Foul called on Jenkins in midcourt. Said he's had enough basketball, and as soon as this season is over, which now we know will be Saturday in Hershey, he's coached enough. Turned down the honor, but a nice honor nonetheless to get the chance to coach that team.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Again, we've talked on air as Uniontown calls a timeout. If you only know Dave Shuck when you come to a Raider game, you don't know the real Dave Shuck. You just know the coach Dave Shuck. But away from the game of basketball, one of the most mildest mannered, most modest men, kind of like his mentor, Abe Everhart, that you would ever want to meet. And certainly Dave Shuck has had a great coaching career, a great teaching career, and has played a part in the lives of many young men and women that went to Uniontown, including my brother and me. We're very grateful for the mentoring that Coach Shuck not only did for us, but for all students at Uniontown High School.
He only called that timeout so you could say all that about him.
Well, I pulled the script out from my pants that he gave me before the game.
No, if there's one thing we know about Coach Shuck, he did not call that timeout so you could say that about him. There's only one element of suspense left in this game, and that is Coach Shuck going to give us an interview after the game.
Well, as we know, at the over at Ringgold, Coach Shuck promised that the next time that I was on a broadcast that he would come out and talk to us a little bit. So we're going to remind Big Dave about that, and I'm sure Big Dave will be true to his word.
No, they've been promising us all playoffs. They said before the run is over, he'll talk with us, and this is the last chance. Because unfortunately, we are unable to bring the state championship game as DeMonico hits both. We are unable to bring you the state championship game from Hershey. We feel badly about that, but the game will be on the Pennsylvania Cable Network live, and people will who don't make the trip, I'm sure, will view it there. It's just contractual obligations or exclusivity clauses, I guess we should say. We're unable to bring you that game, and, well, it's kind of a shame. We wish we could, but, boy, we've had such a great time following this Raider run through the postseason. 8 victories. Can they get the 9th one? We'll find out. Brandon Duncan, Dier Jenkins for the score, and Dier has 16 points to lead the way for the Red Raiders. now. What? Oh, something on the floor.
Getting the kisses.
I was going to say, I wonder if it was a Hershey kiss. Yeah. They're probably going to ask for an announcement from the public address not to throw things onto the floor, which you don't want because someone could get hurt, so don't do that. Well, Uniontown will get a technical if they do it again. Not that that's going to matter, but the better reason is you just don't throw stuff on the floor, guys. Come on. 18 seconds to Hershey. Then we can all have a kiss or two. Don't get too close to me, Jess. I didn't mean that literally. Stuck. Count them down. 5, 4, 3, 2. And now it's raining kisses. And the drive for 5 is still alive. Uniontown, for the 6th time, will play for the state title. A win would give them their 5th state championship. And they will play Saturday in Hershey. The Red Raiders, indeed, are on a mission, and tonight they played like it. And in the PIAA's version of Survivor, it's time to say, Newcastle, the Red Raider tribe has spoken. It's time for you to go. The final score, Uniontown 65, Newcastle 47. Jess and I will be back to wrap things up courtside right after this.
With over 20 years of...
If they just show a little enthusiasm, I think they'd be all right. Back in a moment.
For almost 25 years, Davis and Davis...
At one point, they dropped back into a 2-3 zone. They got so tired for chasing us. But, yeah, we handled. If we'd have handled that press the last time, we were up 13 or 14 points, and they put that press on us and went ahead of us because we didn't handle it. Threw the ball away, missed easy shots under the basket. So tonight, we handled it. We handled it. Everything that they threw at us, we handled it. Plus, our defense was excellent. Jess Hudson, how you doing?
Could you have used a Tom Hudson against the press?
I could have used Jess Hudson. I remember he was a heck of a point guard, too. I could have used Tommy, too. In fact, whenever we had Tommy, I think we got about to this game and ended up losing to Shenley, right. Yeah, the Hudsons, they were pretty good ball players in their days. I remember both of them.
People were kind of thinking toward the end of the first half that you were trying to sit on the ball. But you were really just throwing it over 1-2-2, right?
I didn't have any place else I could go with it. They're chasing me with 3 people, and there are 2 men that are sitting under the basket. So if I go down in under the basket, then I'm going to get doubled. As long as I keep skipping and I skip it, whenever I skip it, then that opens the middle up, then the ball can come in the middle. Once I get it in the middle, I got 2 men coming in on the bottom. Now I got 3 on 2. And if I'm able to handle it, I should have a layup, in which I did get a lot tonight. So.
And your shooting came back, everything. This is pretty much your most...
Well, Beerbauer had been shooting coach up until yesterday, and I worked on it, and I straightened him out. So. Yeah, we had a pretty good shooting night tonight. Deere knocked a couple big ones down, and Terrence, then we opened up that big lead, 21 points, and at halftime, and whenever we went out, I told them, let's just go out and play them basket for basket because we had enough points, and that's pretty much what we did. Okay.
Coach, just real quick, congratulations. We talked before the game that the Raiders are so balanced that you can hurt opponents from all 5 positions. Tonight, double figures from 3 starters. Your other 2 just missed it, and Brandon Duncan double figures off the bench. So this is a team that you just can't key on Terrence Vaughn's or 1 or 2 players.
No. If Terrence is having a bad game, someone else has a good one. We've got 6 or 7 people out there that are capable of scoring 10 or 15 points on any night. And if one is not doing it, then we're going to get it from someone else. It's been like that all year. And defensively, I could take Carl and put him out front on their point guard, and he could stay with him. That's how quick we are. So I thought our kids did an excellent job tonight. We were working together on offense and played great defense. I thought the first half and pretty much the whole game. So I mean, it was a great win for us. You saw the Uniontown team that I know tonight.
We talked before the game, if Uniontown plays its best game, Uniontown will win even if Newcastle plays its best game. Do you agree with that?
I agree with you. I agree with you. Man for man, we're better than Newcastle. I mean, I've got 5 guys that I got on that floor that I think that are better than Newcastle's 5. And definitely, I felt all along, and even told my kids whenever we come out, I says, man for man, you're better than they are. And if you play your best game, we're not going to beat you. No way.
So the difference tonight may have been your preparation and execution against their half-court trap.
Right. We worked on it, and we knew what to do the last time, but I had the wrong, people in the wrong positions. And tonight, we worked on it during the week and getting the right people in the right places, and we didn't have any trouble with it. I mean, we skipped the ball on them till we got the ball in the middle. Then once we got the ball in the middle, then we attacked the basket, and it worked very well. So,
in the first quarter, our unofficial stats, 0 turnovers, and at halftime, only 3. So that shows that your kids were well prepared, and their heads were in this game.
They certainly were. We spent we spent the last few days and working on defense and set up their plays, and we knew where that they were going to put the ball. We stopped. Joseph only had 5 points the first half. DeMonico didn't have any, and that's their 2 scores. And out of their 2 best ball players, they got 5 points out, in the first half. So we did an excellent job on defense. And we were last time we didn't run our offense, and we didn't play well together. Tonight we went out and showed a little bit more patience. They're playing as a zone. We moved it till we got what we want. We got the open shot, and we were knocking them down. So,
just 2 last questions. Do you know anything about your potential future opponents from the East?
The only team that I know anything about is Harrisburg, and I never look at another team before I get through with them. I won't look at whenever I go home tonight. I've got some Harrisburg tapes. I don't have anything on Lancaster and McCaskey. I don't have anything on them. But Harrisburg played Artesia, the team that we played out in Vegas. They beat them 14 points. We beat Artesia out there 17 or 18, had them down 20-some points going into the last minute or 2. So I think no matter who it is, we can play with them. And I think these kids know what it takes to win. Hopefully we go out there that we can get a win this time.
Last question. Tell us what this Raider drive throughout the entire year means to the greater Uniontown community and the great fans. In this building tonight, there's probably 60% Uniontown fans.
Well, I don't think it's just the Uniontown people. I think we've got people from all Fayette County. And I don't know, I think it brings our community together, and there's a lot of talk about Uniontown basketball, and I think a lot of people down there are thrilled. And I'm very happy for them, and they've really supported us. And if you drive around town, you see Good Luck Raiders every place, and and it's just great. I mean, I think the fans love it. I've had people call me and tell me, Dave, you can't win because we ain't going to have anything to do, on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and we love seeing, so I think it brings our town close together, you know, and everybody. It's been great.
Coach, it's been a great career. One more win. Will that make it any greater? Is that going to make a difference?
It sure is. If I don't win this one, I'm going to be the most disappointed guy in the world. I said from the very beginning, I wanted it all. And everybody kind of laughed at me. I told Mike White from the Post-Gazette, I says, he called me and told me one day, and I says, I just don't want a section. I just don't want the dope valve. I want it all. And Mike kind of laughed at me. But that was my goal from the beginning. And I felt I had the team that could do it. We're a small school. We're a double, triple-A school playing quad-A ball. We're not, you know, enrollment-wise, we're not a real big school, you know. But it doesn't have, you don't have to be big if you got the right players. So.
And they're well coached. So, Coach Dave Shuck, thanks for visiting with us. Best of luck, and let's go get him in Hershey.
Okay, Jess. I mean, I'm going to need a point guard. You might have to suit up. So
I think I'm a little over the hill.
Well, everybody tells me I am, too. So
you look great. Great job, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's bring in Chuck Durso.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Coach, let me just say congratulations as well. Very happy, Coach Shuck.
I think you lost 10 pounds during the game there, Chuck. Jeez.
Just an amazing performance by the Red Raiders, just as we wrap things up here. A team effort, and they came out in that first quarter. I don't know that you can play better.
4 people in double figures, including Brandon Duncan off the bench. He was one of 2 people we talked about before the game. The other was De'Aaron Jenkins, the leading scorer, and the 2 other starters that didn't get in double figures just missed. So we got some things right tonight. The biggest and most important thing is the Raiders were right. Newcastle almost never in the game from the get-go.
A little surprised about Coach Sarandria's decision. We thought he might mix up the defenses, certainly go to that 1-2-2 trap. But he came out and played primarily zone that first quarter with very little mixing of defenses, and Uniontown just said, okay.
It's very easy to look, and hindsight is always 20/20. I'm sure that Coach Sarandria gave this a lot of thought. He and his staff went over tons of film, and I'm sure they made the decision that they thought was best for them. Now take away Uniontown's 4 threes in the first quarter, and they're right there, and it's a much different game. So I don't necessarily fault their decision. It's easy to do that now.
On the other side, talking with assistant coach Richard Bierbauer off camera just a few moments ago while you were interviewing head coach Shuck, and he said one of the particularly satisfying aspects of tonight's game was Uniontown defensively was able to do what they did, basically playing straight up man-to-man the entire game.
And they forced Newcastle into approximately 20 turnovers. Newcastle shot the ball fairly well tonight, Chuck, probably in the mid-40s. And when you shoot in the mid-40s in a big game like this, in a somewhat low-scoring game, you think you're going to be right there. But Uniontown just too much from the get-go.
Now let's look ahead. We know, by the way, we just got word it will be Harrisburg in the state championship game against Uniontown as Harrisburg beats Lancaster McCaskey in the semifinals. Uniontown already has tape on Harrisburg. Actually, surprisingly enough, they have a common opponent this year. Both played Artesia from Los Angeles, California. And I believe Uniontown, of course, defeated them in the first round of that Vegas tournament. Surprised a lot of folks. Harrisburg lost, I believe, a close game to Artesia. So Uniontown has a tape of that game, and they start working probably tonight on that one.
Sure. And Dave Shuck talked about that before you came on air. But you can look at all the tape you want in the world. You can talk about momentum. I just don't believe a whole lot in that. Sure, if you can pick up a few things and take that away from your opponent, great. But I think 90% of it boils down to what you do on your team, how mentally focused you are, how well you take care of the ball. And we talked about that off camera. Uniontown, no turnovers in the critical first quarter when they got that big lead by 14. Only 3 at halftime. And on the flip side, Newcastle threw the ball all over the place. That's a credit to the Raider defense.
And, of course, we saw the enthusiasm from the Raider locker room just a few moments ago. I think the one task that the Uniontown coaching staff may have for the rest of this week, convincing the Raiders that they haven't won anything yet. Still one more game to win. And don't get too excited about this one. They got to take care of business Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think the same thing was said at halftime. We talked about it. Make sure we understand this game is not over at half when we're up 21. I think Uniontown goes into this game in great shape on an incredible high. Most of these kids have been there before, So I think we're set up for a great game, and hopefully Uniontown will bring back the gold Saturday night.
I don't know how they can play better than they played tonight, but hopefully they'll find a way on Saturday. We certainly look forward to seeing how the Red Raiders do, and we wish them the best of luck. Again, as I mentioned, late in the game, we'll be unable to broadcast that game, but we want to wish the Raiders the best of luck in that state championship game. We've had a blast doing high school basketball this season.
Working with you, Chuck.
Likewise. Absolutely. Enjoyed it very much.
Great crew.
And we're not totally done with high school basketball because, a reminder, we will have the Hoops Classic skills competition coming up at Uniontown High School.
That'll be on Thursday, April 4th. Starts around 6 o'clock. 4 Red Raiders will participate in that, and then they'll play 2 days later at the Pitt Fieldhouse in the Pittsburgh Hoop Classic on April 6th.
So come out to the Hoops Classic, and we will see you here on HSTV with it as well. Certainly the Red Raiders played like they were on a mission right away in that first quarter today. An impressive performance. Uniontown, the big win over Newcastle, and they are Hershey bound. Hopefully they'll bring home that 5th state title. Good luck to the Red Raiders. My thanks to Eric Zakovic and Jess Hudson. My thanks to you for tuning in as well. This is Chuck Durso saying so long. The Uniontown Red Raiders in the state championship game. Thanks for joining us on Herald Standard Television Sports.
Welcome to high school basketball on Herald Standard Television. We're at the A.J. Palumbo Center for a rematch of the WPIAL championship game between our Red Raiders of Uniontown and that very tough squad from Newcastle. These teams played on March 2nd. It was a 60-57 victory for the Red Raiders. We're 2.5 weeks later, and the rematch is set. Hello again, everyone. My name's Jess Hudson. We're almost courtside here at the A.J. Palumbo Center on the campus of Duquesne University. And we're going out now, and we're going to talk to some fans in the stands. So come on with me. Here we go. Okay, we have a couple of former greats here. With us now is John Karam. John, we won't tell what years you played.
69.
69. Well, you're proud of your age. You look great.
Too, Jess. We lost the state champs that year. Okay. My father-in-law's team.
Okay. All right. John also played at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, had a great career. John, tell us about what you think is going to happen tonight. Of course, these two teams played 2.5 weeks ago, played a one-possession game. Uniontown, of course, victorious. What do you look for tonight?
The same sort of game, Jess. I think that you're going to see the best basketball game in the district here, in the whole region. Tonight, this is it. So you're going to see a very similar game as before. Shuck is going to try to do the same things he did before, but fine-tuning a little bit, and he's got to pump his team up. Team's been playing lackluster in some spots lately, from what I hear, and from what I've seen on television, since I haven't had a chance to get to the games. But he'll have them ready. I'm really hoping they can, do it for Shuck, do it for the kids tonight.
Sure, great. And you got here early.
Yeah.
We're, let's see, it's not even 6 o'clock yet, well before, an hour before tip-off. And there were many more Raider fans here than fans from Newcastle. So we're expecting more than half the crowd tonight to be from Uniontown. I don't know how Newcastle feels about that, because you're sitting in the Newcastle section.
I understand
but
that.
You're taking your life in your hands.
No.
But there'll be a lot of support here tonight for the Raiders.
Yes, there will. And it's going to be a great game.
Okay. All right, John. We move over to Mark Franks. Now, Mark's a little younger. Mark graduated in 73, 74. Okay. Mark, have you seen any of the Raider playoff games? All right. So you were here 2.5 weeks ago, 60-57. What do you think was the key to that game and the Raider victory? Was it Uniontown's defense?
Defense, their hustle, the ability to make foul shots. Newcastle couldn't make the foul shots in the end of the game.
And in the Herald Standard this morning, I believe it said that one of Newcastle's Achilles' heels is their free throw shooting. So if it comes down to a close game, if the Raiders happen to be behind, they can foul and still be in it. But yeah, what do you think Uniontown's greatest strength is?
Experience and the ability to play together good. Okay. I mean, they've been playing. A lot of them kids have been playing together since they've been 8th grade.
Okay. And we have a great Raider crowd here tonight, right, Mark?
Definitely.
All right. Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Earl Highland's here. All right. Here's Dina Blanc. Dina, the excellent point guard for the Laurel Highlands Phillies. And what brings you here tonight?
I'm cheering on Uniontown tonight.
Cheering on Uniontown. And we've talked on HSTV many times that when our local teams get into playoffs,
all of Fayette County supports one another. It's not Laurel against Uniontown or AG. We're all for one another, right?
That's what I said today at school. A lot of people are like, why are you going down there, you know? And I'm like I kind of get offended. Like, I think everybody should come together as a community and cheer for one another. That's the way I look at it. I don't know.
Now, Dina, we're at the biggest basketball game of the year, and she's studying. Eric, let's focus down on this algebra or trig, or what are you doing? Who's the teacher that gave you homework tonight?
Mrs. Badalini.
That's okay. All right, we're just teasing with you. Thanks a lot, Dina. Good luck. All right, here we go. Let's find some more Raider fans. All right. Hi, Jeff. Lafayette. And who's going to win this game tonight, Ashley?
I think the Raiders, but I can't get cocky.
You can't get cocky. Okay. All right, well, that's good. Let's hope our Raiders are not overconfident, but you do want to be confident the Raiders are going to win, right? Okay, Ashley. All right, your name, sir?
Chris.
Chris, and were you here for the last time, Chris?
Haven't missed a game.
Haven't missed a game, all right? So you know that the Raiders have been on a little bit of a roller coaster and have not played real well the last couple games. Tell us about what you think is going to happen here tonight.
I think they're going to bring their A game. We're going to play good ball tonight.
All right. Now, of course, if we don't bring our A game, it might be a long night. If Newcastle brings theirs, of course, these teams are really very evenly matched. A one-possession game the last time should be a great evening, right?
Yeah, I think same as last time.
Very good. Okay. Ben Franklin High School. So give us your name.
Jessica.
Okay.
Lauren. Paige. Sharif. Rashana.
All right. Now, who's going to win this game tonight?
Uniontown.
All right. Who's going to take the lead first?
Raiders.
The Raiders. So they're going to take the lead, and they're just going to run the table tonight. Is that right? Okay. All right. Good job. Make lots of noise. All right.
1938.
That's a Letterman's sweater. What?
Old man Everhart gave it to me.
Well, that's
Old
one.
man Everhart.
Oh, Abe Senior.
Right.
Good. George, tell us about the game tonight, real quick.
Well, it's going to be close. I don't care. I hope we win, but it's going to be close. What?
And all over the court.
Okay. Who's going to win it tonight, Giz?
Well, if Uniontown handles the pressure, the trap pressure, I think Uniontown will win. I think Uniontown has more scorers than Newcastle. I think Uniontown's got to have Pierre Jenkins on the point guard, and they got to stop Dom Joseph on his baseline move and handle the trap. If they do that, they have more options on offense than Newcastle, and I think that'll be the difference.
Not only was he on Good Morning America 2 weeks ago, he's also a coach like George Wood. Okay? More Raider fans, right? What's your name, please?
Rita Yanko.
Okay, Rita, tell us about the game tonight.
The game tonight is going to be a very good game. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement, and Raiders are going to win, definitely. Definitely.
Leah Yanko.
Okay, tell us what you think tonight.
I think it's going to be the Raiders all the way.